Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams show. Today I have a very special guest, Clint Arthur. So Clint is a celebrity entrepreneur who holds a degree in entrepreneurial management from the Wharton School of Business, one of the best business schools in the world. He's the host of the greatest show of all time on 77 WABC radio in New York City, number one talk radio show in number one market in America. With 20 years of experience in running his own gourmet food company, Clint is the number one best-selling author of Breakthrough Your Limit, Breakthrough Your Upper Limits on TV, followed by What They Teach You at the Wharton Business School, followed by Speaking Game, Seven-Figure Secrets Revealed, and his latest work, Celebrity on. So Clint is one of today's most in-demand motivational and inspirational speakers, addressing audiences on some of the most prestigious stages, including Harvard Business School, NASDAQ, Coca-Cola, New York City Bar Association, and even West Point Military Academy. A true master of speaking to sell, in 2016, Clint shattered all-time sales record for an outside speaker at GKIC Super Conference. Clint has appeared on more than 100 television interviews on every television show on America, including the Today Show, where he was interviewed by Brooke Shields, I remember her, and Willie Gist on Fox Business News, Fox Business Network's Morning with Maria on CNN, and on the biggest radio and podcast programs in the world. Well, that was a long history, and I'm sure I didn't cover a big portion of your achievements. So thank you so much for being with us today. Welcome, Clint.
Hey, great to be with you, Manuj.
All right. So let's go through the memory lane and tell us how you got started. You've had a tremendous career. So can you tell us how you got started in the entertainment industry and what was the first few years were like?
Hey, I'm not in the entertainment industry. I am a author, a speaker, a coach, an entrepreneur. I did that whole entertainment industry. I chased the Hollywood dream for 13 years. And, my most memorable night was New Year's Eve, December 31st, 1999. Maybe you remember where you were on the evening of the millennium. Maybe you remember what you were doing. I remember what I was doing. I was driving yellow cab number 6087 in Los Angeles, California. Mm-hmm. It was my 6th year of being a taxi driver. That's what chasing the Hollywood dream and the entertainment industry did for me. And that was the night I swore an oath that I was never going to write another script or screenplay again. I was going to give up on my dreams. It wasn't worth it. I just wanted to have a normal life. And I really pursued having a normal life for all of the 2000s. I got into the gourmet food industry. I started building houses. I got very fat and happy. In fact, I peaked at 236 pounds. I was obese and I did not know it. And lucky for me, I was involved with the men's self-help movement. And I was at a men's self-help campfire in October of 2008. And the shaman pointed at me across the yellow and orange crackling flames and said, "You don't know it yet, but you're already dead." What are you talking about, man? I'm the most successful guy on this team. 8 years ago, I was driving a taxi. Now I'm a millionaire. I was living on a little boat in the marina. Now I live in a mansion in the hills. You're already dead. You just don't know it. And I couldn't stop thinking about what that guy said. For months, I would wake up out of a sound sleep. I'm already dead. What does he mean? And it came to be New Year's Day of 2009. And I woke up and I poured myself a mimosa and picked up a pen and a pad of paper to write out my goals for the year. Mm-hmm. And I was inspired by the shaman. And I asked myself a question that changed my whole life. If this was going to be the last year of my life, what would I want to accomplish? And I started writing down a whole bunch of things. And I was surprised as anything that the first thing I wrote down was I have to write my book about what I learned at the Wharton Business School that helped me to become successful as an entrepreneur once I stopped trying to be a movie star and a screenwriter. And I wrote that book in 8 days.
Wow.
I published it on Kindle, on Amazon, and I waited for all the sales to roll in. And boy, did they ever roll in. All 8 of those sales rolled in that first year. And I did something very smart. I went and I sought out a mentor. His name was Jack Canfield. He wrote a little book you might have heard of. It was called Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yeah, of course, of course.
And I said, Jack, how do you sell 500 million books? And he said, well, you have to become somebody. People don't buy books from nobodies. People only buy books from famous people. And that's when I started going on TV. I paid a publicist $6,000 to book me on my first 4 television appearances. And on all of them, I showed them to my wife. I said, honey, what do you think about these 4 TV appearances? She said, I think you suck. And she was right. And I said, well, you know, I agree with you. And if I'm ever going to make my dream come true of getting on the Today Show, that was my big dream. If I'm ever going to get on the Today Show, I need to do a lot more practice on TV and get better. So I'm going to hire this publicist to book me on 10 more shows. That was going to cost $15,000. And my wife goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why do you keep paying this lady? Why don't you book yourself on these shows? And I was like, what? How do you book yourself on TV shows? And I didn't know. So I started waking up at 2:30 in the morning, going up to my office up on the 2nd floor, going on Google, searching for TV shows on Google, calling up the stations, trying to get through. Hey, I'm trying to get on TV. Don't call us. We'll call you. Click. You know, you got to learn how to pitch. You got to learn how to be professional about getting on TV. It took me almost 2 months before I booked my first show. And that year, once I got that first one, man, I was hooked. That year, I booked 7 appearances on TV shows for free.
Nice.
My second year, I booked 20 appearances for free.
Wow.
Okay, I recently did my 110th appearance.
Nice, nice.
When you think about all the money that comes out to, that's a lot of money. That would be $150,000 saved.
Wow.
Right? Who's going to pay that? I mean, nobody wants to pay that.
Yeah.
And most importantly, my 57th appearance was on the Today Show. And that's when Brooke Shields and Willie Geist interviewed me. And they said, hey, Clint, you have a great idea. You ask yourself a question every year. What's that question? And I said, if this was going to be the last year of my life, what would I want to accomplish?
Nice, nice.
That's my superpower. That's how I live. I don't hold back. I just do. You know, I really believe, Manuj, you don't regret the things you do. You regret the things you did not do.
Exactly. I completely agree. Completely agree. So I noticed that, you do amazing things. You go to the Wharton School and then you write a book about it. You learn how to get on TV, write a book about it. So, why do you spill the beans? Why don't you keep the secret to yourself?
I'll tell you, man, really, because I'm a writer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the screwed up part of it all, is that when I was in high school, I went to high school in New York City, and I had a crazy thing happen to me. My creative writing teacher, there was very few elective classes in this school, but one of the elective classes you could take was creative writing. Mm-hmm. And the teacher was a man named Frank McCourt. Mm-hmm. You ever hear of him?
No.
He wrote a book called Angela's Ashes.
I heard that book name. Yeah.
Yeah, he won the Pulitzer Prize for that memoir about his impoverished childhood in Ireland. Mm-hmm. He became world famous and wealthy because of his book about how poor he was as a young child.
Cool.
And that really cemented in my life. I was like, that guy, he was a couple of years younger than me right now when he was my teacher in high school. He was nobody. He was a loser. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then he went on and wrote the book that is my favorite book, the most beautiful piece of writing in the English language. And that's really what inspired me to want to be a writer, I guess. I mean, I'm a writer. That's what I am. There's a lot of people who are writers. There's a lot of people who are speakers and they write books because they're speakers and you have to write a book. For me, it's the opposite. I'm a writer and I speak in order to promote the books. I'm really an introvert. I'm really a person I'm self-quarantining with my wife down in Acapulco, Mexico. Mm-hmm. We've just been here for since May No, since March 8th.
Wow.
And today is April 23rd. So, we don't even leave. We just go to the supermarket once a week. We're happy. We're fine. Because I'm an introvert.
When I just logged in, I just made a guess. I didn't know that you were in Mexico. I just made a guess and I made a joke. Are you in Mexico? I didn't know you were really in Mexico.
Yeah, we've been in Acapulco here, and we just bought the house next door. We'll be, as soon as it closes, we'll be down here all the time, and we're just fine about self-isolation. I'm a writer. Why do I write books and spill the beans? Because I'm a writer. And I'll tell you one other thing. What's so great about it? I really believe this. Writing books makes you better at your subject, because having the discipline and the focus and just focusing on what's really going on, what's this really all about, it makes you even better at whatever you're writing the book about. Yeah, you have to have a certain amount of expertise in order to write a book. But writing the book makes you even better. So that's why my newest book is called Celebrity Entrepreneurship. I believe, and by the way, I just got the trademark on the word celebrity entrepreneur. That's my trademark in the United States of America. So I really believe that as an entrepreneur, that's what Jack Canfield was talking about. He's like, you have to become somebody. Well, you're never going to be famous like Kim Kardashian. You're never going to be famous like Donald Trump. It's never going to happen. Nobody you can win the lottery just as soon as that's going to happen. But what you can do is you can make it seem to your audience, to your target market, that you are a celebrity. What do you do to make it seem to your audience that you're a celebrity in the eyes of your customers and prospects? What are the things you do? That's what I wrote about in this book, Celebrity Entrepreneurship. I really believe there are 5 main things you can do. Number 1 is going on TV. Number 2, speaking at very important places. When you were reading my bio, you talked about how I speak at Harvard, at West Point, at Mercedes, at Coca-Cola, NASDAQ. All those are important places. And you can, when you Google me, you'll see videos of me speaking in all those places. Then the third thing, my favorite thing, the easiest thing, the most fun thing, really, to me anyway, is this: getting pictures with famous people. Here I am with Oprah, right? Here I am. Here's a good one. This is recent. Here I am. You recognize that guy?
Yeah, Woody Allen, right?
Yeah, right. That's a good one. Here's a good one. You recognize that?
Tyson. Yeah.
Right? Okay. And this is really like my favorite fun thing to do, because here's another one. This is a good one. I love them. You recognize them?
Actually, I don't.
That's iced tea.
Oh, okay.
My wife Coco and me and my wife.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's the third thing, is pictures with famous people, super celebrities, because you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, right? If you Google my name, search Clint Arthur on the internet, look at the photo results that come up, you're going to see me with dozens of famous people. What's that help you to do? It helps you to see me as a celebrity. The fourth thing is writing best-selling books. You talked about several of my best-selling books. And the fifth thing is winning awards. So that's what celebrity entrepreneurs do. And by writing that book on celebrity entrepreneurship, not only did I come to fully understand my topic even better, but I also became a much better writer. I've really I'm a better writing teacher than my high school teacher who became the Pulitzer Prize winning author. Now, whether I'm going to be as good a writer as him, I don't know. I hope to. That's one of my big goals, Manuj, is I want to win a Pulitzer Prize for being a great writer. I want to be America's greatest living writer. That's what I want to be.
That's great. Awesome. Very inspirational. Now, you mentioned, Clint, that you are an introvert, and I am an introvert myself. And I suffered through that because I muster up my courage to talk to people and get things that I wanted. And here you went through Hollywood, then you recognized, and this is not for you. uh, writing was obviously, you thought that you had some skill in writing, so you pursued that, but you had to transform yourself from an introvert. Going on TV is not for the faint of heart. Like, even if you get the interview, the hard part is actually going through it, right? Not like being articulate and presenting yourself well. So, speaking on stage, fear of public speaking is, how did you transform yourself from an introvert to the person you are today?
One of my clients starred in a movie with Elvis Presley, and she told me that Elvis said to her, "Honey, every time I go on stage, I get them butterflies. That just means you're live." And I feel like if Elvis could be nervous, then anybody has a right to be nervous, right? What you have to do is you have to push through it. Now, one of my books that I wrote is called Break Through Your Fear of Public Speaking on Local TV, because going on local TV is probably the best way to get over your fear of public speaking. What happens? You go to a TV studio. These days, most of the TV interviews are being done on Skype or on Zoom. One day they'll start taking guests in studios again. I hope, because going in studio is the best. But if you're doing it on Skype or Zoom, it's just like this. It's a conversation between you and another person. What's the big deal? If you go in the studio, it's you and another person having a conversation, and there's 3 cameras. Maybe there's some camera operators. Maybe. So a lot of times it's robots controlling the cameras. So it's a fantastic environment for getting over your fear of public speaking, because it allows you to share your message in a very private situation, just one or a couple of people, but have your message amplified because it's being broadcast to a big audience because of the TV stations.
Yeah, that's true. But I want to dig a little bit deeper here. Practice is one thing, but as an introvert, like, even having a conversation with some stranger, going up to them and saying, how are you doing? It's a challenge. You almost feel like throwing up. I have experienced it myself. So I want to dig a little bit deeper there. Like, what were some of the first few appearances were like? You mentioned that you showed it to your wife, and you had honest feedback. So can you share a couple of stories, like anything worth remembering? Or
Oh yeah, I remember my first one. I showed up an hour and a half early. Okay. You never show up an hour and a half early. You're just in the way. And I remember I was like walking around in the hallways, rehearsing what I wanted to say, rehearsing the lines that I wanted to say. And I was just so nervous, but it was kind of cool, because you remember that movie with George Clooney called Up in the Air? You ever see that movie where he talks about what's in your backpack? That's what he talked about in that movie. It's a great movie. He's a motivational speaker in that movie. And I felt like, man, I'm going to be like George Clooney, the motivational speaker in Up in the Air. And, and some chef comes in, and he was a local chef. He was on the show all the time. And he goes, listen, you're here to share your message. And don't forget, who's the expert? And I go, who? And he goes, you're the expert. He goes, don't forget, who's the expert? I'm like, who? He goes, you're the expert. It was so freaking funny. I was just so nervous. I didn't know how to perform in a way where I came across as looking good on TV. I was trying to play it cool. And what I have found is that if you try to play it cool, you will look like a fool. Yeah. You can't play it cool. You got to do all kinds of stuff. I'm not playing it cool on this show. I'm performing for you on this show. Yeah. And that's what you have to do if you want to be great on TV.
That's great. That's awesome. It's kind of funny as you mentioned that story about being nervous. What I found was, whenever I talk to somebody else, like, somebody more prominent, I used to get nervous. But then I started noticing everybody's nervous. Even they are nervous. They are not sure of themselves in one way or the other. And so it's all this story that we build up in our head that, I'm not good enough to talk to this person and whatnot. So as you said, who's the expert? You are the expert.
Hey, man, I talk about this in my trainings all the time. Like, when you come to my TV training, it's called Celebrity Launchpad. Celebrity Launchpad is a small group training, usually 18 people maximum. And I teach you for 2 days about how to be amazing on TV. I teach you everything you need to know. And then I bring in TV producers from around the country to take your pitches. These are my friends. They're looking for guests. They come back month after month after month. We're going to be doing our 46th Celebrity Launchpad in a couple of weeks from now.
Nice.
And one of the, and I give you a book. It's a notebook to keep your notes in. And one of the things that I have printed on every page of the notebook is, who am I? Who am I? That's your problem. That's everyone's problem. Everyone has the who am I problem. And that problem is, who am I to think that I could get on the Today Show? Who am I to think that I could speak at Harvard? Who am I to think that I could be in pictures and meet giant celebrities like Dr. Oz or Dr. Drew or the Surgeon General of the United States? Who am I to think I could be doing this, that, or the other thing? And, you know, that's all in your head.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that it's not just in your head, it's in everybody's head.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's bring it into the current environment. You know, things obviously have changed, and I don't know how things are going to unfold. But what do you see in your crystal ball? How things are going to unfold? How the speaking industry and the public event industry is going to change? Anything that you can share there?
Well, I believe that moving forward is more important than ever for people to celebritize themselves the way I describe.
Yeah.
Because there's like, you want to have clients who are affluent. Those are the only clients you want to have. And the affluent clients, rich people are always going to have money, right? The rich people always have money.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people you want as your clients. Now, rich people, they know what they want. They know what they need. The question is, who are they going to hire?
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's a question. They know they need a financial advisor. They know they need a doctor. As you know, you talked about my award. I won the GKIC Info Marketer of the Year award.
Mm-hmm.
The K in GKIC is Dan Kennedy.
Oh, wow.
Dan Kennedy, I remember he said, look, my wife fell down. She broke her wrist. I knew I needed a doctor to do an operation on my wife's wrist.
Mm-hmm.
What I did not know was who was going to be the doctor. Who is the most important thing in business. Mm-hmm. Who are you in the eyes of your customers and prospects, and who in the world has the money to pay you what you want to earn? Who is more important than what?
Yeah.
Especially with affluent clients. So you need to become a bigger who in the eyes of customers and prospects, because they have more money than time.
Yeah.
They only want to work with the best. They only want to work with people who get them excited. They're not going to give you any money unless they're excited to give you the money. And therefore, if you want to have any chance of competing as an entrepreneur, you got to be a celebrity entrepreneur.
Yeah.
More important than ever. Now, as far as the event industry and all of that, you know, I can only hope that at some point people are going to come back to their senses about this whole thing. From what I read, the coronavirus is not as deadly as they thought it was. Mm-hmm. From what I believe hydroxychloroquine is the antidote. I'm taking hydroxychloroquine. I came down to Mexico. I went to a pharmacy. I bought it over the counter, and I've been taking it for 5 weeks now as a preventative measure. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that the whole hydroxychloroquine debate is just a politicization of a drug that is very effective from everything that I've read. And I have doctor friends of mine who've been sending me information about hydroxychloroquine for like a month before Donald Trump ever talked about it. Mm-hmm. At some point, people are smart. I believe that people are smart. They will come to their senses and they will get back to some semblance of life as normal life. Hopefully that'll be sooner than later.
Cool. So, so in the meantime, while we are, yeah.
And in the meantime, I look, man, here's the thing that people love about me is that I don't just sell you a syllabus. I don't just sell you like words. I walk my talk. So for example, I still go on TV. I still speak at very important places. I still get pictures with famous people. I still write best-selling books, and I still win awards whenever I can. And I still am having my event. I have an event scheduled with Dr. Oz, and it was supposed to be June 12, 13, 14 in New York City. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to be legally possible for me to do that event in New York City. So I'm rescheduling it to the beginning of August. I already have a venue picked out. I just need to get all my talent lined up. I got Dr. Oz coming, Dr. Drew, the Surgeon General of the United States, the real Patch Adams, who inspired the movie with Robin Williams, and a NASA astronaut who's a recurring character on The Big Bang Theory, Mike Massimino. Mm-hmm. All of them are coming to this event to talk about how to have more impact, influence, and income, and to take pictures with all my clients so that they can get those celebrity photos, because I'm telling you, that's the most fun, the most powerful, the easiest, the fastest way to raise your status in the eyes of customers and prospects.
Awesome. That's great. Now, in the meantime, there are a lot of people who are in careers, professionals, and obviously some of them are running their own businesses. So what can they do in the meantime to get prepared for however this unfolds? Whether we have public events, whether we don't, what can they do right now to elevate their profile and get ready for whenever things come back to normal?
Well, if you can't speak at very important places or take pictures with famous people, then the remaining things are going on TV, which you can do by Zoom or Skype today. If you want to find, if you want to get started, I wrote the book, Break Through Your Upper Limits on TV, or Break Through Your Fear of Public Speaking on local TV. Both of those books explain how to book yourself on TV. If you want to come to Celebrity Launchpad, where I see the hardest part about getting on TV is getting the TV producer to answer the phone and accept you onto the show. So I guarantee at Celebrity Launchpad, you will book yourself on at least 3 TV appearances, or you get all your money back plus $1,000. We're doing our 46th one, May 14, 15, 16, 17. It's going to be a virtual event, and you can come to the live event in August if you like, or in November to get the training in person as a bonus. Or you can just come to the August event or the November event, whichever you prefer. Writing books, now's a pretty good time to write books. Depends, how you're able to deal with the stress of the virus. I don't think it's an optimal time to write a lot of books, because the virus is really a fear-based pandemic, and the fear will come through in your writing. So, I'm not writing a book right now. I'm going to write my book in October in Venice, Italy.
I see.
I've been getting ready to write that book. I'm writing my big book. It's my big book of my life, man. It's going to be amazing. Talking about all the celebrity men that I've met. It's all about the men who are celebrities that I've met and the lessons that I've learned from them. Awesome. That's going to be my big book. And I've been getting ready to write that book in Venice, Italy for about a year now.
Awesome. And one of the last questions, I know we are almost over time. You talk a lot about being well-rounded, and this is the right time to actually take note of that and get if we are not well-rounded, we can become well-rounded in this time. So can you tell us what do you mean by being well-rounded, and what are some of the suggestions you can share in terms of how we can actually become more well-rounded?
Yeah. Being well-rounded is a lesson that I learned even before I got into the Wharton Business School. It's a key teaching of the Wharton Business School. They encourage you to take classes outside of the business school. And it's very important, that a person is more than just a drone. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to interact. See, people buy people. They're not buying your widget, they're buying you and your confidence that your solution is what they need. That's what they're buying.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be attracted to a person who's just one-dimensional. If you're only a good computer technician, that means you have one dimension. If you're a good computer technician and you're a good speaker, that's two dimensions. If you're a good computer technician and a good speaker and you have a good family life and a beautiful wife and kids who look happy, that's three dimensions. People want three-dimensional people. This is what's missing with virtual living right now, is that it's only two-dimensional. You only have my width and my height. That's all you have. You don't have my depth. And what people really want is three dimensions. That's why we can't continue on with only virtual living. We have to get back into three-dimensional living. And that's why you need to be a three-dimensional person. I wrote about this in my book, What They Teach You at the Wharton Business School.
Awesome. So it sounds like what you're saying is, if we are lacking some of those dimensions right now, is the good time to develop those, or maybe look at some other dimensions that may be available and get busy with that.
Hey, man, life is about more than just your career. Life is about more than just making money. Life is about living. And you want to be at least a three-dimensional person, at least.
And as you said, like right now is the best time to sort of spend more time with family, get in touch with the important things in life, which is your relationships, your family, your friends. So thank you so much for coming out of the show and sharing your wisdom, your experiences, which are out of the world. Now, before we let you go, can you tell us how people can reach out to you?
Hey, it would be great if you like anything you heard today, you should listen to my radio show, the greatest show of all time, on 77 WABC Radio in New York City. You can find links to my radio show, my books, my events. Everything is on clintarthur.tv. Clint like Clint Eastwood, Arthur like the king.tv, because every celebrity is on television.
Awesome. So we'll put those links in the show notes and help people to get in touch with you easily.
Very good.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Great.
Manuj.
Thanks so much. Thanks.